this. Yay, it worked. Okay. So, Shelly, I know that you are nursing right now, and Ashley, I know that you're not wanting to do video, but I didn't know if you guys want to, if you can unmute yourselves for a second. I would just love to know um, kind of where you're at in this, if you have sold a kit before, if you've literally never done anything, if you've just been thinking about it. Hey, Britt, where you guys are kind of at so I can kind of know who I'm talking to, essentially, if you're able to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, this is Shelly. I am basically starting from scratch here. My kit is on the way. Kendra Brimmer sold me my kit, and it should be here this week.
Yay.
But otherwise, I'm super excited, and I've basically just been trying to learn as much as I can, as fast as I can. I've had the privilege, I guess, of using lots of samples. I have a friend at church who has just showered me with lots of awesome oil samples, and so that's kind of how I got started. Just being able to try them for myself to see if they actually work.
Yeah.
And I really loved what I've been given, so that's what led me to buy the kit, and basically just curious to learn more.
Awesome. I love that. Ashley, are you able, I don't know if you're able to unmute. If you're not, that's totally okay. I just didn't know if I could kind of get.
Yes.
Oh, yay. Okay. Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing, I'm making it. It could be worse. So I've had my kit for, I guess, a little more than a month, and a lot now, so I'm just kind of starting to learn everything, but I'm diving in and trying a lot of blends and new recipes just to see what works for me, because I think that's, the best way to really reach other people is being able to show them what really works for you. So that's kind of what.
I love that. Being a product of the product, it's so important. I think when people very first initially hear about the business, if they go into just like the business mindset and not like I actually like the product mindset, when they hear that you have to do the 100 PV on ER every month, they're like, oh, well, that's a lot of money that I don't want to spend. And it's like, okay, it totally is, especially in the beginning, it is a lot. But in order to sell something and to sell it from an honest place, you have to use it. You have to know what it is. You have to be able to say, yeah, I've had this experience and this has changed me and my family. And, you have to know what you're talking about. You can't just sell it by reading off Young Living's website what it is. So that's when I always try to tell people, like, hey, you want to be a product of the product, because the more honest you are, people are going to be able to see that, and they're going to feel that, and they're going to trust you because they know that you're actually talking from experience. But also, if the 100 PV is a lot for people in the beginning, I always say, have your friends or family add on to it. Do transfer buying all day long. That Thieves Cleaner bottle, the household cleaner, is like a joke of how cheap it is compared to other stuff. So I love that you guys both are like, yeah, I love the product and I'm using the product, because that is totally the best spot to start from, for sure. I'll tell you a little bit of my journey, I guess. So I bought my kit, my very first kit, about 3.5 years ago. And I got it from a girl that I followed her blog. And I basically bought the kit, and then like we still had conversations by all means, but it was never about the oils or anything. She didn't have any like groups to plug me into. There was no welcome packet. There was no nothing like that. And so I never really reordered for a while. And then I finally ordered again. And then I think it like got on her radar of like, oh, she placed another order. And she's like, so you should do the business. And I was like, no, I'm okay. Thanks so. And then she asked me again the next month, like, hey, you should really do the business. You have a blog, you have this, you have that, whatever. And I was like, no, I'm okay. And then she asked me for the third time. And I finally was like, okay, well, I don't even know what that means or looks like. And she's like, well, here's your sign up link. So like send that out. So I did a post and I sold a couple kits, and I was like, oh, okay, that was pretty great. And my husband was like, okay, you if you don't make the money back that you're spending in these first 3 months, if you don't make it back, then you're done. And I was like, okay, that's totally fair. Cause at this point I had no stake in the game. Like, I was just like, whatever, like I'm just doing it to see what happens. And I think I made that first check. I think I made back the money and that from what I would have spent in the next 3 months. So he's like, okay, well, I guess you can keep doing this. But I just had no support from her. She was incredible. She's an incredible girl. But she had no support either. She bought her kit, I think it was from like her aunt or her grandma, maybe even, like super, super sweet people, but just like they had no resources, no support. So I talked to her on the phone and I was like, listen, like I've got like 20 people signed up with kits and now I have no idea what to do with them. I can't educate single-handedly every single person and like help with every single issue. I didn't even know what reference books were. Like I literally knew nothing. And she was like, well, we can try to like create a Facebook group together. And I'm like, no, like you talked me into doing this business because you said it'd be easy and like I would just get money and it wouldn't be a lot of work and I can still do my blog and my kids and whatever. And she's like, well, yeah. So something that's super not highly looked upon from Young Living, but I did it anyways, is I switched teams because I absolutely knew that I could make this something, but I knew I couldn't do it in that situation with no help. So I switched teams. Taryn, who is one of Kari Ray Lewis, if you recognize that name, Taryn is one of her legs, and Taryn and my sister were friends, and my sister had known that her friend Taryn had a bunch of support. So I switched over. And it was the best thing I could have ever done. It sucked because I had to give up all those 20, I think at the time it was like 20 kit sales. I had to give them up to switch. But it was beyond worth it because now our team is like 3,200 people 2.5 years later and just insane. So I feel like I can say this with like so much truth in it. Having the support and the resources that our team has to, especially to do this business, but even just if you're just for people that are just wanting to use the oils, having that is a game changer because like without it, you are a lone man and it is not easy. And can you guys even imagine like if every single time you sold a kit, not only would you have to create your own graphics, you don't have any type of script, you don't have like, I didn't even, if there was a sale going on or whatever, I didn't know about it unless I got an email from Young Living. Like there was nothing. So total game changer. So well worth it to switch. But now it's just been crazy. So it's been 2.5 years, or like a few months, 2.5 years and a few months. We hit Diamond last month, which if you guys don't know what that is, there's like Royal Crown Diamond, and then Diamond. So it's like a pretty significant rank. And I don't say that to be like, yay, look at what I did, because it was not me. It was our insane, incredible, amazing team that is just full of so many people that I just want to like hug and kiss all the time because they're friends, like they're real friends now, which is a huge other extra blessing in this. I have a really great community of friends, like actual, like in my life before oils, whatever. But I know that a lot of people go into this not having any community. So I feel like I'm like a double blessed because I'm like, dang, I have like my community in my like actual life. And then I also have this huge, beautiful community in this. But I know so many people are like, Adrienne, I've been looking for like where I feel at peace and where I feel like I fit in and where I just like mesh with people. And for so many people, this is what that is for them. So that's a huge actual very tangible blessing of this business that a lot of people don't ever expect or not even necessarily looking for, but they find it. And it's so cool. So I want to talk, that's kind of like a little bit my journey. But I want to talk about kind of like what the business looks like in like a day-to-day. Now, obviously, I've been doing this for, like I said, 2.5 years. So what my day-to-day looks like now is very different than what it looked like in the beginning. But I'll kind of take you through like in general. So in the very beginning, I probably worked on the business, I honestly, like 5-minute increments here and there, but probably if I had to add them all together, like 2 hours a week, maybe, because I just I didn't really have any vision in it. I knew that I wanted it to be something, and I knew it could be something, but I didn't really know like steps to get there. IPAs were not even really a thing back then, like the income producing activities. So we kind of just were like throwing and hoping that something stuck. Like we were just trying to figure it out. So I probably spent about 2 hours, and that was mainly my main focus for sure in the beginning was getting kit sales, getting new members. So sharing about how I was using the oils online, sharing about it I had a blog. I still have it, but I severely neglect it. Sharing about it on my blog a little bit, sharing on Instagram. Everybody has a different sweet spot and like how this business works really seamlessly for them. So for me, online is my thing. Like online is my jam. I can share about this business all day long and online, and it's really great and I love it. I always tell people to always have online like in their wheelhouse, but for some people, like Britt on this call, her sweet spot without a doubt was one-on-one coffee dates with people. And I know that she used to be like, okay, like I'm gaining traction, I'm doing good, I'm whatever, but I feel like I'm not going as fast as I want. And she swifted gears. She switched gears and started doing more like the one-on-one coffee dates. And I swear, it was like every time she ended a coffee date, she had a kit sold. So you have to figure out what is your jam. Is make and takes what's going to be really well for you. Our vendor event's going to be what's going really well for you. In-person classes, online classes, sharing online. So like there's so many ways. I feel like so many people go into this thinking like, well, I'm not going to be able to do this well because I'm not a really great person for in-person stuff. Great. Focus on online. And when I say focus on online, don't just post to your Facebook or Instagram, especially if you don't already have any type of following or whatever. Don't just hope for the best. You have to like actually go out there and make it happen. So if you're like, okay, I only have 100 friends on Facebook. First off, 100 friends is awesome. Second, you can go in and you can search through community groups. If you have any type of hobby or interest, search those groups on Facebook and don't go into the group saying, hi, I'm Adrienne. I'm super excited to be here and I sell Young Living. Don't do that. Go in and start actually forming relationships with these people. Get friends in there and then add them as a friend on Facebook, and your newsfeed is going to be in their newsfeed. So they're going to see naturally that you do sell oils. So I feel like there's so many ways that people think that if it's not like cut and dry or if it's not exactly how this person's journey was, that they can't do it or they can't do it well. But there's so many different ways that you can do this business so well. You just have to actually be willing to do it. I have done one vendor event, and that is all the vendor events that I've done. I have a girl on our team who does a vendor event like 2 or 3 times a weekend, and she sells like 18 kits a month because of it. So there's no right or wrong way. There's just a lot of ways, and you just have to actually do them. So now, like I have a really strong conviction in terms of leadership of I never will ask you guys to do something that I'm not willing to do or already doing myself. So I will never say, yeah, sell kits, like get those new members, blah, blah, blah. And then just sit back here and be like, I don't need to sell kits anymore. They're doing it all for me. Like that's not something I will ever do. So I push myself every month to try to be on like our top leaderboard of top kit sellers, because I want to, not because I want to be on the leaderboard. I don't care about that. I want to be in it with you guys. I want to be doing exactly what I'm telling you guys to do. I want to do it myself. So I'll never be that leader that's just like, I don't really care about the kit sales anymore. I'm more of the leadership role. No, like I'm going to be the leadership role, but I'm going to practice what I preach with you guys. So I think that's really important. So yes, I still totally try to sell kits every month. But now it is definitely more of a leadership role. And that's the coolest thing too, is like, I never, ever, aside from like physically being a mom, I always, especially when it came to like my blog, I always thought that if I wanted to do something and do it on my own and not need like the help of my husband in order to do it, it would have to be like I was an esthetician before. So I always thought it would have to be me being out of the house working. I thought if it was anything from like me doing the blog or like social media stuff like that, I always needed my husband's help because we had a DIY home design blog and I know how to use some power tools, but I was not like the mastermind of that. That was him and I documented it. So I just always thought that I would need to kind of be like codependent on him, which is to a certain extent obviously healthy. But I was so happy when I found this because I was like, I can do this on my own. And as much as I can have Jeremy help me if I want him to help me, I don't need him to do this. So I know that that's a very different why than a lot of people, because a lot of people are like, well, I want to do this so I can do something with my husband. And if that's your jam, that is awesome. Like, that's so great. But for me, I was like, I want to do something where I don't need him. I want to prove to him that I can do this on my own, that I can bring in a paycheck, that I don't need him in order to do this and do this well. So that was like a huge thing for me to be able to transition to being able to do it on my own and not be dependent on him for it. So like I said, with your why of that, like, no, sorry, I feel like I'm kind of like scattered. I'm always scattered. Sorry. But I'm gonna come back to like what a day looks like and talk about something that I think is like way more important than almost anything else. When you are doing this business, especially in the beginning, I really encourage you to take some time and try to figure out why. Why are you wanting to do this business? What is it that you're like attracted to from it? What are you hoping to see come from it? And what are you wanting to do with that? So everybody can have a totally different why. Some people's whys is so that they can do something with their husband, so that they can bring their husbands home and retire their husbands early. Some people's why, my why, one of my big whys is we support my parents financially a bunch, and I want to never have to even think twice about if we're going to be able to support them fully financially when they're not able to work for health or whatever. So that's a huge, huge why for me. And we're already being able to live out a lot of that right now, which is like,
hold on.
so cool. So just know your why and figure it out and remind yourself of that, because there's going to be so many months in this business where it's just fun and it's just good and like you're on like a high from it. But then there's totally going to be months where it's like, oh, it's a little bit slower, or oh, I'm dealing with this, or right now with all of our shipping issues, Young Living has not made it exactly fun or easy for us these past couple weeks dealing with that. So in those times, that's a really good time to remind yourself of your why, when it's not just the fun and just the high energy and whatever of like, okay, why am I doing this again? Okay, that's why. And it recenters you and like recalibrates you to not be so focused on like the little details, but just like have the laser focus of the real reason why. So yeah, that was my side note. But in the beginning, it was a lot of like new members to try to get new members in, build the team. Now, I feel like probably a year ago, my mindset shifted. And I think that was one of the best things that I could have done for my business and for this team is more than a year ago, actually. I stopped just trying to sell people a kit. And I started really being confident. I wouldn't say like bold, because I feel like when people hear the word bold, they think like in your face, and that's not what I am or what I want people to be. But I started being very confident in talking to people about not only here's your kit, but Essential Rewards and the business. I talk to people about those two things right away all the time now. And I'm not like scared and timid by it. So I always tell people, hey, if you're ever going to order anything else, like if you want to get that thieves cleaner, if you want to get a bottle of Valor for X, Y, and Z, if you want to do all these, if you want to get all these things, you absolutely should place it through Essential Rewards. And I kind of give them my spiel of that. And then once I know that they got their kit, I always check in like, hey, how are you using it? How are you loving it? How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And then I always say something along the lines of like, hey, and if you ever want to actually share about this with friends, because I know a lot of people, this just naturally happens, here's your sign up link. You should totally send that out to any of your friends that start asking questions. You make a $50 paycheck every time you sell a kit. And then anything on top of that is even more. So I feel like when I started being very confident and talking about ER and the business right away, that drastically changed so much. So I would say one of my number one mistakes from the beginning was not doing that. So you guys are in an awesome position right now because you're just starting out and you can literally attempt to have that mindset from like day one. Like, don't be afraid. Don't feel like you're pushing stuff on people. Don't, like, new is the best. So people are going to be able to feel your energy and your excitement, and they're going to be like, I want to do whatever you're doing. Like, this sounds awesome. You don't have to be like, I've got a huge paycheck. Come do it with me. People don't, like, yeah, people are always impressed by big paychecks, but they're drawn in by you and your excitement and your energy for something. So, like, you guys are literally in the best spot ever for it. Like, this is seriously just, you're awesome. And I'm so excited for you to be able to start this way. So I would definitely say, don't make my mistake and don't wait a year plus into the business before you start actually talking to people about Essential Rewards and talking to them about sharing about their oils. You don't have to like sit down with them and break down the entire business without them asking about it, but just sit down or do a phone call or do a FaceTime as they get their kit and talk to them about just, hey, this is a really awesome opportunity that I'm trying out. I think it's going to be really great. And would you want to do it with me? Because I cannot tell you guys, like, I literally can't put enough emphasis on how many of my friends and family members that now are coming to me and they're like, I want to do this with you, and I'm so annoyed that you did not like literally force me into it 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, a year ago, whatever, because they're seeing how it's blessed our family and how it's blessed our life, and they're seeing that it's not stopping, it's not slowing down, it's not going anywhere, and they're like, why didn't you force me to do this? But I was always like, I'm not going to force anybody, I'm not going to talk about it. If people want it, they can come see it, they can come do it, whatever. And they're like, no, I really wish you would have. Like, that's like, I'm annoyed with you that you didn't. So especially if you have like friends or family that you're like, I really think they could be amazing at this, don't be afraid to talk to them about it. You don't need to be the MLM salesy whatever girl, but share your passion and share your excitement, and they're going to feel that and they're going to totally be drawn into it. And then you're not going to have friends 2 years down the road. They're going to be like, why didn't you make me come on board with you back then? Like, I could have been silver, I could have been gold, I could have whatever. And then be like, oh, sorry. Because that's basically all I can say is sorry. I wasn't bold back then, but now I am, so sorry. But I don't know. I feel like I just word vomited a whole lot on you guys. And I want to also leave a little bit of time. I don't know how much time is left. I want to leave a little bit of time for questions too, if you guys have questions. And I know that a phone number popped on, but I don't even know who that is. So it doesn't say a name. Jessica, hi. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. Right? Is there a Jessica there?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I can hear you. I don't know. It just says Jessica. So can you tell me who you are so I know who I'm talking to?
Oh, yeah. Hi, this is Jess Keating.
Hi.
I just joined my little oil tribe this weekend, actually.
No way. I love that.
Yeah.
Who did you sign up with?
Jeannie Nelson.
Oh, that is so fun.
I know. I love her.
I've known her for literally ever, like little kids, and she is actually my son's speech therapist. So
she's my son's speech therapist.
What?
I know, small world. That's amazing.
Oh my gosh, that is really crazy. I love that. So
I'm sorry, I have like no idea how to use Zoom, so I hope I'm not like occupying everybody's feed right now.
No,
sorry.
You're good. Everybody is on the call together, so you are totally fine. I just wanted to know who I was talking to, so this is good.
Sorry, I feel like I'm a nerd and I don't know how to use technology, but okay.
Zoom, I feel like once you get the hang of Zoom, then it's like good. But in the beginning.
Oh, I think I might have lost you. Hold on. Oh, wait, there you are. Sorry.
So are you thinking about doing the business? Are you like, no, I'm all in? Or where are you at?
Well, like one conversation with Jeannie and I was like, oh, I'm 100% all in. I've been kind of using oils for the last year on and off. And then just started realizing I'm like, I already know so much about it and I use it in everything that I do. So I'm kind of curious as to, she's like, why aren't you already doing this? I'm like, I guess I don't really know. I don't have an excuse. I use it with my kids and I use it at work and I use it on myself every day. So yeah, it kind of is just like part of my day-to-day routine. And I feel like I talk about it all the time. And she was kind of scratching her head with me like, why aren't you doing the business? I was like, I don't really have a reason not to do the business. So I'm just kind of trying to gather information and learn a little bit more about it now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. You guys have it right. You are loving the product already. And now you're doing this like that. There's no right or wrong way per se, obviously, but it's always best when it's like, yeah, I'm obsessed with this and now I want to share about it. So that's so awesome. I love to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm loving everybody. It's been like so sweet and so supportive, and it's only been a couple days. So now I'm just trying to soak it all in and be a sponge to all the information about Young Living because it's a lot to take in, but I mean, it's kind of fun.
Yeah. I always tell people like, hey, I'm going to bombard you with 50,000 links and emails, but take your time like processing through them because I don't want anybody to ever be like, oh my gosh, this is too much. I'm overwhelmed. I'm going to stop. I always tell people like, hey, I'm just going to give you everything. That way you can literally go at your own pace because it's totally a lot in the beginning. But I'm so glad that you're loving it so far and feeling supported. It's so awesome to hear that.
Yeah, you guys are a great team. It was like right off the jump, everyone was so amazing and just very welcoming and then just a wealth of information. I woke up and my Facebook feed was like full. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. But it was awesome.
Get ready.
Exactly. I started to realize she's like, if it's too much, just tell me. I'm like, oh, no, let's do this. Let's go.
That's so awesome. I love that.
It's so awesome. So I'm so appreciative already, and it's only been 48 hours, so I can only imagine like what it's going to be like later.
It's pretty great.
I'm excited.
Pretty great.
Yeah.
Who's the phone number if you're willing to speak up? Is it showing a name for anybody else, or is it just a phone number?
Just a phone number.
Okay. That's okay. Ashley, Shelly, or Jessica, do you guys have any questions?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Adrian, is that me? I don't know. I'm not on the Zoom app. It's Melanie Paramore.
Hey, yeah, I can hear you.
I called in instead of on the app, so that's probably why it's only showing the phone number.
I didn't even know that was an option. That's really great.
Sorry.
No, that's great. Seriously. Hi, I'm so happy to have you. Do you guys have? I wanted to leave some time for questions at the end, and I think it's going to cut us off in like 8 minutes. So, did anybody have anything that they want to ask, or Britt or Brooke, do you have anything that you want to add that you feel like I'm totally missing on?
No, I feel pretty good. This was an awesome option. I didn't even know this thing existed.
Yeah, it's really great. I love it for like being able to actually feel like you can connect with people and see faces and everything like that. Once you guys actually do like the video with it too, I don't know, it feels way more connected than just, I mean, I love Facebook Messenger all day long, but I like this too, for sure. For sure.
This is really cool. I mean, I never knew this existed either, so this is pretty awesome.
Yay! I love that. Britt or Brooke, or I think Brooke is there. Do you guys have anything that you? Oh, hey, Brooke. She's frozen, I think.
Hey, Booz. Oh no!
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I was just driving. That's why I'm at a gas station right now.
Oh,
that's
sorry.
hard. I'm not like currently driving, but I think it was great. I'm really excited. This new, I think something that was really cool to hear is when you guys were just introducing yourselves, like the newness of it and the freshness is just exciting and contagious. And so it's awesome. Be excited, share out of that, and you're going to kill it, all of you.
I agree, man.
One thing I think is really cool, I started using oils because my mother-in-law kind of got me into it, and when I went to find the best, Young Living was that for me, and she is not part of Young Living, unfortunately, so I had to find someone to sign up with. Mm-hmm. And I randomly asked my Facebook friend, and a friend of mine actually pointed me in Britt's direction. So I think it's really crazy and wonderful that I feel so connected already to people that just happen to be in this group that I'm a part of now. So this is just really amazing. I feel like it came at the right time. So this is just really cool. I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, that's so awesome to hear. Britt is incredible. So I'm really glad that just so happened to work out that way.
I'm glad.
I tell people like, hey, you can totally grab your kit from like anybody, but if it's not like, if it's somebody that like I've personally been talking to about oils with or whatever, I always tell them like, hey, I'm so not offended if you grab it from somebody else. That's totally fine. But please, 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 whoever you're potentially going to grab it from, just make sure that they have a team and like some resources for you, because I kid you not, I can't tell you guys how many times people are like, oh, I love talking to you about this. I love getting all your education, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, but my cousin or my neighbor or whatever, I feel like I need to buy from them, so I'm going to get the kit from them. And I'm like, great. And then they get the kit from them and they're like, oh, well, turns out they don't have like anything. And I'm like, they're like, so can I be in your groups? And I'm like, no, I'm so sorry, but no, like that's totally a perk of being on this team and being a member, and all the way up through Happy Oilers and even beyond that. Like it's not a normal thing. There's definitely more and more teams and more resources coming out by people because people are realizing that it's a serious need, but it's still not the norm. So the fact that you like randomly got put into this is the best thing ever, because that just worked out really well for you and for us, obviously. But yeah, it's so good. And if you guys, I feel like everybody that I just talked to is under somebody that's really great, and I know you're going to be taken care of. But if you guys ever also want to like chat with Crossline, that's another huge blessing of this team that a lot of people don't tap into, at least in the beginning, is they feel like, oh, they can only like go to like their upline or people below them or whatever for like brainstorming or whatever. But you can totally, if there's anybody in the Central Tribe, whether it be the biz group or the regular group, and you're like wanting to pick their brain on something or whatever, everybody on this team is super receptive to that and is not like, oh, well, you're not in my downline, so I'm not gonna help you. There's no like secrets or secret sauces that we all hold on to that we're only sharing with certain people. Like, especially in my mind, I'm like, if I have anything that I think is going to work well or that is working well, I'm going to share it with all of you guys the second I know that, because why would I not want to help everybody? Like, the better we all do, the better we all do. So I am really, really blessed by this whole journey. I'm super excited to see where it's even going to go from here. Like I said, it's not slowing down. It's not going away. There's nothing like that that's happening. So if I can encourage you in anything, it's to dive in with like everything. Give it. In my mind, I love to be able to tell people, give it a year, but some people that freak some people out. So I'm like, okay, give it 6 months at least of like actually going all in on it. Like reading through the resources, sharing in every facet, like not just online, always share online for sure, but not just online, sharing in person, doing a make and take, doing a vendor event, whatever. Try all the angles that there are to try, figure out what works really well for you. And then as you're building that team, that incredible team under you, getting those new business people under you, getting all the new members under you, love on your team. Because the more loved on and more supported that they feel, they're just going to do better and better themselves, and then in turn better for you. So, there's like nothing that I love more than being able to like support and love our whole team. I was talking to my husband and I was like, okay, babe, like, where do I draw the line for like giveaways and whatever? And like, where do I, like, what's our budget for that? And he's like, do we have a budget for that? Like, just love on them however they need it, whatever they're needing this month, whatever you think is going to bless everybody most this month, do that. And I'm like, okay. So he's all in it too with me, which is really fun because he definitely was a late comer, as I call him. I feel like he didn't like see the true vision in this business until we went on our cruise that we won through Young Living. So I'm like, and that's how some husbands are. Some husbands like don't catch it until they like start seeing paychecks that in their minds are like, wow, that's not something I ever saw coming. And some husbands are in it with you from day one. Some people don't have husbands. It's all over the board. But it's obviously really awesome when you have somebody in your corner supporting you too. So I think that was it. I think that was all I had written down to talk through. If you guys ever have any questions, you can always message me. You can message your upline. You can message anybody on our team at all. You can post questions in the business group. The business group is like a free-for-all. Like we don't really do a lot of oil usage in there because that's not the purpose of it. But you can post and ask anything in there. And everybody is usually really, really receptive to it. So don't ever be afraid of that. But we're also going to be doing rank calls. So when you hit star, there's going to be a star rank call every other week. When you hit senior star, there's a senior star call every other week. So those are going to be really awesome to be a part of. And we're going to be doing those from like here on out. We just started them last week. But I'm so excited for you guys. Thank you for taking your time out to do this. I know it's a crazy week. Christmas is in a week. It's so fun. But I really appreciate you taking the time to do this, and I'm super, super pumped for you guys. So
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye.